this event and what we are preparing for the future of youth. It's not only an event, but also the results of this event and how we plan to move in the future with it should be, from our perspective, part of the legacy of the European Year of Youth. And we know that in the European Year of Youth, a lot of EU funds have been used for young people. What we would like is to see continuous use of these funds. So not only 1 year and we stop, because we also know that young people and the youth sector and the youth ecosystem actually needs more than just 1 year of attention. So we would like to start with what we have now, with the EU funds dedicated to youth, and see during the event from you where you want to go with them. And my presentation is just to put this discussion into the context of what we already have or we've already identified now. And if you have questions, or even better for me, if you have things to complement what I prepared, you have new ideas and information, please let me know, let us know during this meeting, before the meeting in March, and during the meeting in March. This is actually what we expect from you. Just a very short introduction. We are speaking about the multi-annual funding framework of the European Union. So we speak about long period budgets. We had the past period budget 2014-2020. Now we are in the 2021-2027, and already in 2022, we had the European Year of Youth and a lot of funds allocated for youth. We are looking to the future, so not only with what is happening from 2023 onward, but really to the next programming period, to the next European budget from 2028 to 2013. So a long period of time. We think about the future of youth in a long-term perspective. And we also look at different funds and programs, seeing what it's possible to do with them. So what is under their objectives and priorities, and also where youth projects for the different elements of the youth ecosystems can find a place, can be funded, can find support. Putting the information about the EU youth funds and programs together, there are more than 30, I think, altogether. We only find 4 that have a specific, direct, explicit objective in supporting youth. There are Erasmus+, the European Solidarity Corps. There is Erasmus for Youth Entrepreneurs that only supports youth entrepreneurs, but it's for this specific objective, a very successful program, and the European Solidarity Fund that actually supports the implementation of the Youth Guarantee all over Europe. Now is the Youth Guarantee extended, and has specific objectives into supporting youth employment, youth education, youth entrepreneurship in the member states. Except for, or taking this into account, we also have other programs and funds that can be used for youth. In total, to our knowledge, to my counting, there are 16 EU youth funds or programs that can support youth structures and youth activities. From this 16, I already said 4 have specific objectives for youth, but 4 others can include budget allocation for young people if the national governments decide so. So we do have an example, and I will come back to it because it's a very interesting example that many of us, at least many of us in the team, would like to see repeated. In Slovenia, the government decided to allocate funds from the European Fund for Regional Development for building and renovation of youth centers. This is fairly rare because there are very few EU youth funds that are used for youth infrastructure, so for youth center and other type of infrastructures for young people. 9 other funds can support youth activities, although they don't have specific objectives or priorities related to young people, but actually youth organizations and youth institutions can use them, and I will show you how in a moment. For the elements of the youth ecosystem, if you are going on house space, not necessarily right now, but after the meeting, and you are looking at the resource with the youth ecosystem, you'll see that the youth ecosystem has several elements. Some of these elements are supported by Erasmus+, and the European Solidarity Corps, most of them. In some European countries, the European Social Funds also supports the same elements. So the development of youth policies like the youth strategies, the overall development of the youth sector vision, youth human resources like youth workers and other professionals that are working especially for youth and with young people that are specialized in this, youth information counseling and youth work and other type of activities, and youth structures like youth organizations can be funded. All of them in all European member states, EU member states, can be funded by Erasmus Plus and the European Solidarity Corps. In some countries, the European Social Fund Plus now, European Social Fund in the past supported the same element. As I said, youth infrastructure, it's rarely supported by EU funds. There is an exception, a good practice that we would like to see repeated in Slovenia, where the European Fund for Regional Development it's used for youth center. On the other hand, other EU funds can be used for other things. And I will not go into all the details for this slide. You will definitely have it on House Space after the meeting. But what we know is that, for example, culture and arts for young people or youth participation to culture and arts can be supported in Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps projects, but can also be supported by Creative Europe. Participation and volunteering of young people can be supported by the same usual suspects, but we also have the Citizens, Equality, Rights and Value program, SHARE program, or SERV program of the European Union that it's new and can be used in projects for young people, having young people as the main target, projects for youth organizations to develop their capacity to promote equality and rights and so on. But we'll see during the meeting, some of these programs have their limits. What is important at this moment, I think, for us, is to acknowledge that they are there. They are possibly a source of funding and of resource for the youth sector funding, but most of them are not actually used so much. In non-EU member states, we do have funds that can support all these elements, including education, employment, participation, culture, health, youth activism for environment. But again, they don't have a specific priority or objective related to youth. And this makes actually projects for young people funded by this funds pretty rare. It's not a common thing to have. Social inclusion of young people, it's a bit special. There are a lot of other funds available, not only Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps and European Social Fund. But again, most of them depend on what and how the countries, the national government decide to plan, including the Just Transition Fund that depends now on how the countries plan to use it, the Rural Development Fund that can support inclusion of rural youth, and also the funds for the candidate and non-member states, like the EPA funds or other funds. A special fund that is available for youth inclusion and has been used in countries that really need it, like Greece, Italy, Cyprus, and also in Austria, is the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund that is used for the integration of youth refugees and youth migrants in countries with a large community of youth migrants. But we also identified some missed opportunities, some places where youth funds are possibly available but are very rarely used. Support for youth infrastructure, it's rare, and we do have some good practices, but they are the exception. In Slovenia, I mentioned. In Bulgaria, the recovery and resilience funds are used for youth centers, and other sectors like culture, health, well-being, activism for climate and environment are not explicitly covered by most of the funds, or if they are covered somehow as an addition to the main activities. So more projects could be funded by available funds, but they are not so much used. This is ending my presentation. Thank you for your patience. I'm looking forward for your questions.